things as they could to virtualization. How do you see? Well, let's talk about the existing environment. Nobody really walks into the data center much anymore, so we've gotten beyond that. Like, oh, the server needs to be down the hall. The server actually can be in the cloud because they're doing a lot of things from their desk, but there's still a change in terms of the skills that they need. What kind of skills have you seen? How are we going to go about getting people up on those skills? And I'm treating you guys different than the last panel. I was like calling on people. I'm just going to throw that out there. What do we do in the people side of it? And then we'll go on to process and technology.
Well, I think I haven't really thought about the criticality of the architect, but yeah, that really is a new skill set. It's kind of like finding the uber technical person, someone who understands all the bits and bytes and the whole OSI model. So that's critical. But you do have partners like Sirius, for example, that are embedded, and they can provide a lot of that services and support for you from an architecture. But the cloud frameworks are different than the typical on-prem models, and Josh can probably speak to that quite a bit. Also, I think being able to analyze the speeds and feeds that they charge you for, whether it's sitting idle or whether they're charging for the network bandwidth or they're charging you for storage, all that really changes the model from the capital or operating expenses that we're looking forward to or that we operate on today. So there's going to be quite a bit of change.
So just to piggyback off of both of those comments, I think that, all of this means that this is not something you decide, okay, my 12-month plan is that we're going to go from no experience in this at all today to having a fully live DR in the cloud. I think this really needs to be viewed more as you need to be thinking 3 years out, potentially longer, depending on the size and complexity of your health system. If you are thinking that far in advance, then you can take the time to do some of the assessment of your teams. I mean, the cloud vendors themselves are offering opportunities to educate your teams. You can take small workloads, move them in, have them start to gain some of the experience and the comfort when the pressure is not on, because there's not a massive project with a deadline looming over them. At the same time you're going through that learning curve, you have an opportunity to go through the learning curve with your executive team, with your CFO and your heads of finance, to talk about the impacts of how this may change the way we've historically paid for technology. So it's a long runway, I think, if you're going to do it well.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a pretty significant varying groups within our client base that we're working with. Some, it's been a great conversation started to talk about moving these things to DR, and then some of them have had to really settle back and help them establish that training exercise that they're going to go through with their teams to get them up to speed to be able to support it in day 2 or even during a build process. So we're, have to be flexible to meet where they're at, which is fine. And then we've got organizations that are, they've been kind of training some people up for a while and they're ready to go kind of full speed ahead. And so we've got, those varying degrees. And then also I think one of the things that I've witnessed already is the fact that there's a lot of people out in healthcare right now that are really interested, really excited to go do stuff in cloud. And I'm talking all the way down at the, at the admin level, the engineer level. We're really excited about going to get it done. And then also I think it helps healthcare attract the next generation of healthcare IT people to, carry us into the next decades and ensure that, they see something exciting to work on as well and new, and that we're not kind of stuck in the old ways.